The President, please be seated. The court is now back in session. Before I hand over to the prosecution to present some of the most relevant documents concerning the substance of paragraph 4 of the memorandum of the TC dated the 7th of January 2013, document E3223/3, the Chamber wishes to advise parties and members of the public that the Chamber is seized of the request by the defense team for Mr. Ieng Sari requesting to put before the Chamber 56 documents in the proceeding of the hearing of documents. The Chamber does not know whether or not other parties other than the defense team for Mr. Ieng Sari has received the list of documents, 56 documents, and the Chamber wishes to advise the parties that the Chamber will hear this document tomorrow afternoon, because the Chamber is of the opinion that parties be given times to examine these documents, and in addition the Chamber wishes to grant leave for other parties to object or have any observation concerning the 56 documents sought by the defense team for Mr. Ieng Sari. Next, the Chamber wishes to hand over the floor to the prosecution to identify the key documents pursuant to paragraph 4 of document E223/3, focusing on the military structure first. You may proceed.
លោកធានលោកស្រីចក្រមនិងភាគីដែលមានវត្តមាននៅទីនេះទាំងអស់ពេលនេះ
Good afternoon, Mr. President, and good afternoon, colleagues. First, I would like to present the relevance of document concerning military structure, as well as the review of the military deployment by the leadership of Democratic Cambodia, and we would like to request your permission, Mr. President, to have this document displayed on the screen. The President, you may proceed. Prosecutor, thank you, Mr. President. The first document concerns the role and structure of the military structure of the Democratic Cambodia following the 17th of April 1975. This document is the revolutionary document, revolutionary flag, dated August 1975, document E3/5. This publication published the speeches of the 22nd of July 1975, which in EON in Khmer 000633 and 24, English 004014 and 88. French 00538963. It reads, on the 22nd of July 1975, on the occasion of the ceremony of the Communist Party of Cambodia Center to establish the Revolutionary Army, the comrade chairman of the high-level military committee of the party convened an important political conference of the Communist Party of Cambodia Center for approximately 3,000 representatives of every unit of the Revolutionary Army. And the complete content of this important conference was as follows. 1. The meaning of the great historical victory of our nation, people, army, and party. 2. A brief history of our Revolutionary Army. 3. The reasons for the great victory of our Revolutionary Army. And 4. The new missions of our Revolutionary Army. On the second part of this document concerning the history of the building of the Revolutionary Army of Cambodia, here and in Khmer 00, 06, 33, and 28. English 00, 40, 14, 91. French 00, 53, 89, 66. It reads, our Revolutionary Army was born of the strategic political line of the Communist Party of Cambodia, which states in one clause that, quote, the enemy uses violence. They use acts of political and military cruelty as weapons to oppress, to kill, and to wreck and destroy the people. Therefore, the party must lead the people in the use of violence, in the use of acts to repay in blood, whether politically or militarily. End quotes. This means that the party must use revolutionary violence and must assemble the people to use revolutionary violence to oppose the reactionaries and the oppressor classes and to oppose the colonialists and imperialists. On the third part of this document, in Khmer, ERN 00, 30, English 00, 40, 1498. French 00, 53, 89, 73 to 74. This particular section mentioned the reason for the great victory of the Revolutionary Army, and subsection 1 of this main section 3, it reads, the party equipped the ideological lines of the parties, and military would understand it. So both the regular armies as well as militiamen understood the ideological training from the party. In the last section, section 4 of the speech concerning the two duties of revolutionary armies entrusted by the party. 1, national defense, and 2, building the nation, nation building. The first mission concerning the defense of the country by the Revolutionary Army of Cambodia, if you look at the relevant ERN in Khmer 0006, 3340-42, in English 0040 1501, French 0053897526. The roles of the Revolutionary Army of Cambodia are as follows. The main role of the primary mission of the army is to defend the country. Why must the country be defended when our country has already been completely liberated? We have already driven away and scattered all the imperialists. We have already liberated our country, but a war situation still rears its head, because in the world, imperialism and colonialism, both new and old, still exist. They carry out all kinds of activities all the time to wreck and destroy the people, to wreck and destroy weak countries, and to wreck and destroy the revolution. And then this section continues. This is in terms of the external enemy. However, the external enemies contact the internal enemies, the feudalists and capitalists, in their status as oppressor classes, have already been attacked and overthrown. However, in being overthrown, will they entirely disappear, and will they never return, or what? This is the end of the extract of this. And then as for the next plan, they advise the Revolutionary Army as follows. That is why our military has to fulfill the obligation to defend the country, and we must exercise utmost revolutionary vigilance. We have to defend our nation, defending entire country, defending the territory, both the interior and the borders, defending the territorial waters, defending the airspace. All this is the mission of the army. And it continues. It is the defense of Phnom Penh, smashing espionage groups and smashing saboteurs that want to wreck and destroy our revolution, and we will continue to smash the defeated enemy remnants. And as for the next document concerning the examination of the military document E3/214, entitled Statute of the Communist Party of Cambodia. Particularly on Article 27 of this paragraph, it reads, the three categories of the party's army has to defend the country of all situation, and it also divides the structure of the armies of the party in different levels, and it also provides for the authority as well as responsibility of the party's leadership on the military structure. And this was also noted in the meeting of the standing committees, with which the co-accused attended. Next, I am going to present a few more documents concerning the situation of military reporting to the party's leadership. And this issue was brought to the attention of the leaders, and it was deliberated and adopted in the meeting. The first document I'm going to present is E3/182. This document is the minutes of the meeting of the Standing Committee dated the 9th of October 1975. In this Standing Committee's meeting, particularly on page 6 and 7, it reads that the Standing Committee deliberated and decided on a number of military issues concerning the rearrangement of the General Staff as well as the new deployment of military personnel, both Navy as well as infantry, as well as the examination of the overall situation of the armies. Now, the next document E3/1150. This document was dated the 11th of November 1975. This document is the letter sent to Comrade Jha, who is the Secretary of the Northeast Zone. In this letter, the Angka received the telegram from Comrade Jha sent on the 9th and 10th of November 1975. Angka responded to these telegrams with specific instructions concerning the arrangement as well as the mobilization of forces in that region in order to be ready for combat against the enemy. And we can also see some examples in paragraph 2.2 as well as point 3 of the same document and point 6 of the document, which elaborated the conclusion of this document, and it provides at the end that Angka have also received a telegram on new people this morning, and they will report later. Next document E3/229. It is the minutes of the meeting of the Standing Committee on the 22nd of February 1976. The agendas of this meeting includes the national defense matters. This meeting also recorded the attendance of the participants, namely Comrade Secretary, Comrade Deputy Secretary Nguyen Chia, Comrade Wan, Comrade Wern, Comrade Q, Comrade Tuch, Comrade Q Sampon alias Haim, and Comrade Survasi alias Dun. And in these minutes of the meeting, it indicated that Son Sen reported the situation of the enemy in the eastern zone, and he also reported the military aid by the Chinese, as well as the transport of ammunition and the request for the establishment of a military hospital. In these minutes of the meeting, it recorded some of the decisions made by the members of the Standing Committee. It also mentioned that the committee agreed that we had to be ready at all times. When the enemy came, we had to attack them swiftly. So these were some of the decisions made over there. And the Standing Committee also requests that they locate a new place for the construction of a new airfield and a place for the construction of a military hospital proposed by the General Staff. Next, I would like to present a document concerning the working procedure with people down the lines of the military structure, particularly the structure from the base up to the center. Document E3/366. 386 rather. 3866. Right. This document was sent from the Northeast Zone, sent to Brother One and Dun and Archive.
ក្រុមអស់នៃ
On the bottom line of the telegram sent by Ja, it reads, if Angka agrees to it, we request 89's side to advise 920's side to slow down the fighting for a while. Another document, E3/217. It is the minutes of the meeting of the Standing Committee dated the 11th of March 1976 concerning the overall situation of the borderline in the eastern part of the country. There were presence of Nuon Chea, Ieng Sari alias Wan, and Khieu Sampon alias Ham. In this particular meeting, Sun Sen alias Khieu reported the overall border situation in the eastern part of the country, namely Mondulkiri province, and the communication with the Vietnamese counterpart. These minutes also recorded the armed clashes between the military of the Democratic Cambodia and the opposing forces of Vietnam along the eastern border of the country in Mondulkiri and Ta Keo province, and he also raised the military and political measures as proposed by the Standing Committee. The next document is E3/235. This document summarized the decision of the Standing Committee dated the 19th, 20th, and 21st of April 1976. On the third part of this document, page 4 and page 5, it recorded the national defense matters decided by the Standing Committee following the 3-day meeting. These decisions include the arrangement for the operation of the airfield in Kampong Chnang, as well as the appointment of staff members to the general staff. And in point number 4 of the third section, it reads that there was a request to reinforce the forces. The next document, E3/221, is the minutes of the meeting of the Standing Committee dated the 14th of May 1976. In that meeting, Nuon Chea, Ieng Sari alias Wan, and Khieu Sampon alias Ham attended the meeting. The meeting at that time discussed the negotiation with Vietnam. And Comrade Ja reported the overall situation, and every participant were invited to offer their opinions. And at that time, there were discussion of the incident of the attack on the ship donated by Chinese to Democratic Cambodia at that time. And then Ieng Sari also raised an opinion in that particular meeting. He said, sooner or later the Vietnamese side would agree with the breviary line. Next, I would like to refer to the next document, E3/224. It is the minutes of the meeting of the Standing Committee dated the 30th of May 1976.
The attendance of the meeting included Pol Pot, Nuon Chea, Von Wet, Son Sen alias Keo, and Keo Sampon alias Haim. The meeting discussed the tasks and duties that the armies needed to carry out. In particular, it related to the agriculture and production. In the first main part of the record, it notes the main duties of the Revolutionary Army and that they needed to defend 4 battlefields, and the coastal area defense and the territorial defense were mentioned in the 2 defense duties. It continues to read that the 3rd battlefield is the intervention battle. That there should be one force to take intervention in Phnom Penh, and the 4th battlefield is the security defense surrounding the leading apparatus of the party and of the state government. The meeting also continued to discuss and decided on the work assignment related to the agricultural production to the northwest of Phnom Penh of a Comrade Earned, that is Sector 10, and the assignment of the task to the southwest of Phnom Penh, that is Mate, Secretary of Sector 502, and Comrade Pin of Sector 703. Then the work assignment continues to Cheung A area of Pin in Sector 703, and the instructions were further given to Comrade Pin to dig canal to link to Basa River. I will also make another presentation regarding a document identifying the roles of the party in the military structure. Document D56/10.008. It is a report from a Vietnamese messenger regarding the public announcement by the Funk and the Grunk on the composition of the People Liberation Army. In that announcement, it was referred in the ceremony of the Funk, and it was made in public that Keo Sampon was appointed as the president and the commander and the army chief of the army, and Salazar was appointed as the chief leading the military of the army, and Nuon Chea was appointed as the political leader of the army. Son Sen was also appointed as the army chief. The next document is E3/290. It is a international media report, FBIF. It was made in October 1972 on page 38. It includes the broadcast by the Pyongyang radio on the biography of Pol Pot, which reads from 1970 to 1975 in his capacity as the head of the Army of the Center. He conducted military negotiation. In addition to the party's affairs and the leading role against the Americans, and he was successful in gaining victory for the nation. In January 1976, he was elected once again to take the position as the secretary of the party's center of the Communist Party of Cambodia and the president and the head of the army in the 4th Congress. The next document is E3/1714, which is an interview with a Cambodian refugee at the Khmer-Thai border. It was conducted from February to March 1980. In particular, it was on the EIN in Khmer 00324763, and in English 00170748, and in French 0064901011. It includes the interviews with the standing committee members of Kampong Saum. It also provided detailed description on the taking control of Phnom Penh by the Khmer Rouge force during 1974 and 1975. I'd like to make the following quote. The offensive was under the control of the center's army and under Pol Pot and Nuon Chea. Son Sen was in charge of the setting up the battlefield. At the same time, the real composition of the military and the security part of the center under the standing committee were stated by Ieng Sary in his previous interviews, in particular in document E3/94. It was an interview by Ieng Sary on the 22nd of July 1981 in EIN in Khmer 00578895, in English 003425012202, and in French 00602000. In his interview, Ieng Sary stated the following. Question: who was in charge of security? And Mr. Ieng Sary replied, the most senior leaders, and there were 3 or 4 of them, discussed the matter, and then they made a report to the standing committee. The next question is the following. Who were those 3 or 4 leaders? And Ieng Sary answered, Pol Pot, Nuon Chea, Sao Pham, and Son Sen. Son Sen was in charge of security. They relied on regional people for reporting on security matters. in document E3/93, which is also an interview by Ieng Sary conducted on the 28th of August 1996, in particular on Khmer EAN 00224443, and in English 00078610, and in French 00347376. In this interview, Ieng Sary replies that I am not the right-hand man of Pol Pot. In fact, his right-hand man is Nuon Chea. And there was a committee which considered all questions about security, and that committee comprised of 4 people, namely Pol Pot, Nuon Chea, Son Sen, and Son Sen's advisor, Jun Yat. My last document to be presented is E3/86. It is a communique by Ieng Sary's group dated 8 September 1996. It entitled "The Truth About the Dictatorship Regime of Pol Pot, 1975 to 1978. EN in Khmer is 00224430. In English, 00081215, and in French, 00614094. It states the following: the government was only a screen to hide Pol Pot's personal dictature firmly based on the Secret Security Committee composed of Nuon Chea, head of the Secret Committee, Son Sen called killed, and Son Sen's advisor, that is his wife, John Yate, alias Ad. So from 1975 to 1978, it was this gang of 4, that is Pol Pot, Nuon Chea, Son Sen, and Jun Yat, who decided on all the killings and massacres. I conclude my presentation of my documents, and my colleague will continue to make his part of the presentation. President, thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. In my presentation of documents, which I will start today and continue tomorrow, I will focus primarily on the surviving contemporaneous documents from the General Staff and from the Center Military Divisions of the RAK, including minutes of meetings between Son Sen and the division secretaries, reports from the divisions, including annotations showing that these reports were forwarded by Son Sen to other leaders of the party, and instructions or orders that were conveyed by Son Sen to the divisions under the command of the center. The documents I will present show the frequent and detailed reporting by military divisions to the senior leaders in Phnom Penh, and the communication to the RIK of orders, party lines, and policies that were to be implemented by the military. And I will present these documents in chronological order in order to allow the Chamber to see how the general structure of reporting, authority, and the hierarchical chain of command largely remained constant throughout the regime, yet at the same time to see how policies and issues that were the subject of these communications evolved over time. And the first document I would like to present is from the months ensuing after the capture of Phnom Penh on the 17th of April, 1975. It is document E3/832. That's E3/832. And it is a 4 June 1975 order conveyed by Comrade Pin, who was the commander of Division 703, a center division that originated in the special zone. The document lists 17 traders who are former Lon Nol soldiers and states at the bottom, and with your permission, Mr. President, we'd like to put this on the screen. At the bottom of this order is stated, quote, "All these 17 persons have been examined by the party, and the party has decided that they are to be smashed. The comrades are asked to implement this policy of the party." End of quote. The descriptions of the 17 Lon Nol soldiers to be smashed, most of whom were lieutenants or lieutenant colonels, is also revealing. A number of them specifically state that all members of that person's family were also traitors. Number 7 on this list was Sisuwat Retaravang, who is described as having, quote, "a feudal, people-betraying lineage," end of quote. The description of number 12 on the list, Prak Vanaran, states, and I quote, "This contemptible guy wrote a biography criticizing us very strongly, by nature absolutely opposed to the revolution," end of quote. The next group of documents, Mr. President, I will present are from the first half of 1976. And document E3/1016, I repeat, E3/1016, is a 5 January 1976 report from Division 164 Secretary Mut to Brother 89, the alias for Son Sen. This report is a report on fighting on Kochal Island. And the report is described at the end of the document as, quote, "the monthly report of Unit 164 submitted to Brother by train," end of quote. It makes several references to implementation of decisions by the party and shows the coordination between the center, zones, and military divisions. In the document, Division Secretary Mut states that he is at Korong Island to, quote, "follow up and help make sure that the decision by the party is effectively implemented," end of quote. He also reports, quote, Comrade Chan went to meet brothers Nook, Se, and Comrade Kim to execute the decision by the party. End of quote. Nook was the secretary of Sector 37, Kokong province area, and Se was the alias of Kong Chop, at the time the secretary of the Kompot sector, Sector 35. The next document is E3/887. That's E3/887. It is a 23 January 1976 telegram to Uncle 89 from 05, who has been identified by witnesses as Sar Saroon, the secretary of Division 801. This telegram describes attacks by Vietnamese troops and reports that his forces have not fought back because they are still awaiting orders from Angkar. And specifically, paragraph 5 of the telegram, if we may display that. Paragraph 5 states, quote, "I am organizing the forces while testing and waiting for the final decision from the party. As in the above report, I request to attack any place where there are Vietnamese." Continuing later, "We have not counterfired even a bullet while we are awaiting Angkar's advice first." End of quote. And an update is added at the bottom of the telegram, which reads, quote, "At 11 o'clock on this 23rd January 1976, they sent more troops to attack us again. We have not fought back yet." The telegram concludes, "I would like to request some advice from Uncle immediately." End of quote. The next document I would present is document E3/1175. That's E3/1175. It is a 26 February 1976 daily report on the situation relating to CIA enemies. This report discusses two individuals who were detained for interrogation and who during that interrogation identified a brother Khan as being involved with them. And if we may show this document on the screen, the typed report contains two handwritten notes. The first of those notes on the upper left-hand margin is signed by Q, one of the aliases used by Son Sen, and states, quote, "Transmit to the organization, or Angkar, for information," end of quote. And a handwritten note at the bottom of this report requests Angkar to, quote, "Inquire in every department or sector as to whether someone named Khan has been arrested or not," end of quote. The next document is E3/923. To repeat, E3/923. And this is a 3 March 1976 report from Chin, the Secretary of Division 920, to Brother 89, which was copied to Brother 87 and to Brother Van, the alias used by Ing Suri. And paragraph 2 of the section of this report titled Internal Problems concerns reporting to the Center of Arrests and Interrogations and states, quote, I have arrested 5 people with bad elements. First, they inspired people to flee home. Second, they brought grenades in preparation for smashing vehicles. They have gradually carried out such activities. Seeing that, I am further interrogating them and will send you the file on this case later. End of quote. The next document is E3/1176. That's E3/1176, which is a 16 March 1976 report from Division 310 Secretary Uan, which has a handwritten note at the top stating, quote, to Ankar to be informed. The document begins with a detailed report on internal enemies, noting at the end of the second paragraph that regiments and battalions have been required to, quote, study issues in relation to getting rid of the enemies and unruly type, end of quote. And in paragraph 4, towards the end of the document, and I'll note that the Khmer page here is 000-21470, and it is the right-hand side of that page. The following matter is reported by Division Secretary Uan. Quote, an event occurred at Chiptong Factory in Tul Kork. According to brothers patrolling at night, they have seen the women at Chak Angre dancing to revolutionary songs adapted to European-styled songs of the previous regimes. At the same time, they saw women and men playing with each other. Then they went in pairs into the rooms and turned off the light. Continuing later, quote, based on our observation for a period of time, it seems that corruption and vice have occurred again. Now I have our brothers secretly watched clearly, then record the voice as proof to submit to Ankar, end of quote. And the incident at the factory that is described here was considered serious enough that there is a handwritten note next to this part of the report that states, quote, please report to Comrade Vorn, referring to Vorn Vet, the standing committee member and minister responsible for industry. The next document, Mr. President, is E3/1162, E3/1162, and it is a 26 May 1976 report, also from Division Secretary Uan. This document contains a discussion in paragraph 7 of how biographies of division cadres were checked and reported to the center. Paragraph 7 states, quote, in Special Battalion 312, there remain 3 comrades who still hide their biographies, did not tell the truth about one's own biography. A. Heek. In his biography, he said he has not any political tendency, but when investigating his house, we found that his father was a soldier of an ambush unit in Kampong Thom. End of quote. The other two individuals in this paragraph are also reported as having relatives who were soldiers in the previous regime. Mr. President, I may continue, but I have a substantial number of documents to present, so I may continue tomorrow morning with your leave.
President, thank you, Mr. Co-Prosecutor. The time is appropriate for today's adjournment. The court will adjourn now and will resume tomorrow morning, commencing from 9 a.m. Security guards, you are instructed to take the accused Ieng Sary back to the detention facility and have him return to the holding cell downstairs with the facility of audio-visual linked so that he can participate from the following up here. Before 9 a.m., the court is now adjourned.